Good evening, sir. Welcome to the show. I think this is another one of our geopolitics discussion today. I think we are going to talk about Greenland and the crisis that is currently happening in the Arctic. And then Trump is talking something about border peace. I like these are some very current topics. So, what do you think, sir?
Good evening, Path, and again, glad to be back in your show. I think many things are happening, simultaneously in the world forum and geopolitics and the scenario. Things are changing quite fast. So we shifted from Venezuela to Iran, and now suddenly Iran is not in the news. It is silent, right? And
It's
suddenly we
gone.
find that yeah, it is there. It is maybe things are happening. The news is not coming, as we
Yes.
discussed in the last video that uh, it is delayed. The move is delayed. Now the entire focus is shifted to Greenland. Now, if you see Greenland, it was like under the kingdom of Denmark, right? And in World War II, what happened was due to fear of Nazi forces, US was asked to occupy the territory in Greenland so that Nazi forces do not take over Greenland, right? So they had various camps, military camps in Greenland, which after World War II slowly they receded. Now Trump says that since we had already occupied that land and we could have occupied, so it is ours. It claims it territory that ये हमारा ही protection में था, we left it, now we can take it. Very similar to what we can say for Bangladesh that in 71 we occupied Bangladesh, left it for you, we can come back anytime. Right? So that is the logic what Trump has, you know. So
Sir,
also
if you look at it like it sounds like a plot from a bad spy novel. Trump is arguing that it was for national security, where the Greenland's massive ice sheet, mineral resources, and Arctic location made it a hotspot for some military bases. And he's saying it for China and Russia
no,
that they will take
no,
over. But US already has a Thule air base there, so it's not totally like something unimaginable that, from his point of view. Then, but Denmark, which actually owns Greenland, even though technically it's autonomous, they're shutting down the conversation. They're saying that this is the quotation, okay? Like Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen is calling it absurd, and Trump is
no.
miffed because,
You understand the background of Greenland. Okay,
of course,
this is North America. This is Europe. Greenland is somewhere here, right? And it is adjacent to Alaska and Russia. And if you see, as the global warming has come up and the temperatures are rising, the Arctic Circle is getting ice free. It is more navigable. And if you see the shape of the Earth, it is shortest at the poles to travel from one location to the other. Hence, Greenland, Russia has great interest in the Arctic Circle. US wants to counter Russia and also China. China also has interest in that area that it wants to have its global hegemony, right? So what it wants is to counter China and Russia. And as per Monroe Doctrine, which now Trump is following, blindfoldedly, that the Western Hemisphere is mine. So South America, North America, and even Greenland, that should be my part. So I can create something like an iron dome or a wall. Right? Yeah. So
yes,
rightly brought out, if you see that it is between Europe and North America, rather much above it towards the pole, and also navigable through the Russian Arctic Circle. So that location is first of all strategically very important. Second of all, it has all the natural resources, all the rare earth materials. Now you see silver, uranium, all these rare earth metals are uh, they have a good reserve there if the ice sheets are gone and drilled. That is what another point is. So the strategic location as well as rare earth metals. Even they say that Venezuela and South America again is in target of US because it wants to take care of rare earth elements. Now, rare earth elements, if you see silver, gold, all the prices are going up in the share market. You're already aware, and the ETFs are going high. But a point is that the new, batteries will be all silver, made from the element of silver. So, silver cadmium, or like it was nickel cadmium, or so that is how it is changing, and it will be very fast to charge. So, in this technology wise, in semiconductors, silver is the best conductor. Thereafter, copper comes in, and aluminum is lower in the level of conductivity. Hence, all these uranium for nuclear energy, all these metals have suddenly taken up the prominence. Hence, Greenland places who have rich resource of these elements are where the interest of the world leaders are. Hence, Greenland is one point, and secondly, Greenland, the population is so less. You already have camps. Even the I think the Prime Minister of Denmark has said that you do whatever you want with that land, but we cannot give it to you. You cannot capture that land. We give you all the rights, sole rights to say you put your naval bases, you put your army bases, air force bases, whatever you want to do, you can do it, but you don't take over. So this is where the crisis stands, and now there is a division between the NATO forces. See, every UK, France, Denmark, US, these are all NATO. They're part of the NATO membership, right? So you are now breaking into NATO. One of the NATO countries wants to attack the other NATO country, and who is having the biggest laugh is Russia and China. कहते हैं, यार तुम आपस में लड़ लो. It is good for us because Russia has been fighting NATO for generations. If there is a crack in NATO, the countries that want to fight with each other. Hence, it is best for Russia and China.
And I think the other part also is, sir, that like I said, they still have a air base there. So they are
Yeah,
talking about this in this particular way, that okay, like here, like we are seeing, this is the uh, Pituffik space base, or the air base that they have over here. So looks like maybe
yes,
somewhere here. Uh, but and the interesting part is there is in the Arctic Circle. So like. There was this interesting analysis where somebody made about NATO, that
mm,
if you look at the map, there are points along the map where maybe along the eastern seaboard they have a US Navy deployed. For Russia, they are saying that okay, previously they had this right here. Maybe they had one airbase near Sevastopol. That is, when it was taken over in Crimea. So they had these air base, naval bases, so that they would have access to the sea in the Barents Sea and other places like that. But because of the issue, that they're saying,
if you
okay, like
turn the
if we
map
take over
more
Greenland.
towards the see, if you turn the map more towards the left, you find Russia is not very far. See, Alaska
Yes, yes,
was Russia's. Alaska was given to US. It was
this
sold to
was
US.
purchased.
Yeah, and if you see the gap between Alaska and Russia, you can walk when there's snow. You can walk through it. Is some 20, 30 odd kilometers. So what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say
like
is this
you can
region
just take a
above
boat and
Russia.
go.
Yeah, yes. So this region above Russia is uh, is the Arctic sea route going to each of the continent, even to Europe. Hence, Trump knows that it will be in a better position if you can take on Greenland forcibly or by persuasion, and the rare earth elements are already a big factor to mine
And
and take control of.
Huh. And what one thing that people have not really talked about is many important air routes are also over Greenland, the airspace.
Okay,
So I
okay,
remember when I was going to America, we had to go over Greenland and then into Canada and then fly over there because we had to fly over Arctic. So there are many points of airspace going over Greenland, which means that if suddenly Greenland becomes part of United States, then American airspace will extend even more, which is the different frontier of air control that
see,
people have not
if
talked about yet.
Greenland is taken over by US, legally or whatever illegally, then the Arctic Circle will be dominated by US, right? So that is a big challenge. And secondly, if you see in the map, Iceland is just under Greenland. वो तो ऐसे ही gift में आ जाएगा, as a bonus. So, so the point is,
This
he
one.
wants to create a curtain between Europe and America, from Western hemisphere and Eastern hemisphere, or the other part of the world. So this is what is a serious issue which is going to affect.
So it's not just that, like the point is, there is a situation about the Nobel Peace Prize angle, where Trump was nominated multiple times, supposedly in 2018 for North Korea talks, once for Abraham Accords in 2020, even again in 2021, and then most recently he's saying that okay, now you will form board of peace, you have to join, pay money and join.
See, Norway is where the Nobel Prize, the decisions are taken. But Denmark has no role in that, right? But he's trying to attack Europe. You see, you have the control of all these prizes. You've not given me. Now my ego is hurt. So out of all the reasons, the primary reason is you've hurt my ego. Now I can do anything. See, I wanted peace. You did not recognize my efforts. I have stopped so many wars. Now I'll create wars everywhere in the globe, on the globe. So Venezuela कर लिया, Iran का धमकी दी, now is getting into Greenland. And to top it all, he is trying to create another organization parallel to UN, which is the Board of Peace, right?
And after paying some billion, no, like $1 billion
Yeah.
or something more like that.
So initially he said his Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and he's the chairperson, and Marco Rubio all is, so it is all U.S. government's organization, and they say that we all should come. Naam bhi diya Board of Peace, and they'll create a parallel to UN. They initially invited 60 odd countries, then they said 35 are coming. Abhi shayad 20 are coming, जिसमें Pakistan, Morocco, Israel, Saudi Arabia, most of these countries, are joining in, and I think the major big countries have said no to it. French president has uh, publicly stated we are not joining, and he's also admonished French president ki usne ye pehan. He's like a child now. He's trying to say, if you don't join my gang, then I'll sort you out. He's saying your wines and all, I'll be putting a lot of tariffs. So things are going quite crazy, if you see overall in the international politics.
Even the recent news was that Danish pension fund, which
Hmm.
is academical pension, they announced
Hmm.
their plans to sell the entire $100 million worth of U.S. Treasury holdings, by the end of January 2026, which means that entirely now people are trying to avoid U.S. debt. Like
No,
if I heard this right,
you're
Europe
right,
owns.
because see what how US is earning the economy, why it was the hegemony and the economic power, because it used to give this treasury bonds. Treasury bond क्या होता है? मान लो आरबीआई ने बॉन्ड निकाल लिया कि भाई आई एम गिविंग दिस पेपर एंड आई प्रॉमिस टू गिव यू सो मच ऑफ मनी, यू इन्वेस्ट, आई टेक ऑल द मनी, पुट इन माय इकोनॉमी. The point is, his treasury funds have been issued more than its GDP. More than 35-36 trillion dollars का आपने treasury fund कर दिया. China has the maximum 1 or 2 trillion. Now China is in cashing. Everybody is now in cashing. So क्या होगा? Dollars effect will come down. Swift में already, Swift is being used less. Earlier 75 to 80% of transactions were done through dollar. Swift में क्या होता है? आप अपना currency दो, वो डॉलर में कन्वर्ट होता है, डॉलर से दूसरे के करेंसी में जाता है. So everything is through dollar. So who is gaining in the bargain is dollar. Now everybody is trying to go for bilateral trade, bilateral currencies. From 75, it has come to around 47-48% of transactions. Slowly, the use of dollar will finish. Importance and the value of dollarization will come down. Second, what is going to happen? Everybody is trying to encash the treasury bonds. So US के पास तो इतना पैसा है ही नहीं जितने treasury bonds बांट दिए उसने. So its economy is going to get affected. What Trump is not realizing, that by trying to finger everybody, what he is doing is he is actually it is affecting his economy. अब
I
यूरोप
think
का
from
एफटीए
what.
होने वाला है. यूरोप का एफटीए इज विद, या यूरोप्स एफटीए इज विद इंडिया, एंड ऑलरेडी वी हैव एफटीएस यूके के साथ चल रहा है, ऑस्ट्रेलिया. सो आई थिंक वी आर डूइंग डायरेक्ट एफटीएस विद एवरीबॉडी अदर देन यूएस. So in the bargain, actually, US has isolated itself, and he is publicly mocking all the leaders. आज कनाडा वाले ने भी बोल दिया. Now that is quite sarcastic, because he says कि we should go for peace. अभी तक whenever the US and CIA were attacking third world countries, तब किसी को कोई वेस्ट को प्रॉब्लम नहीं था. अब जब वेस्ट के पास आ गया, दे सेइंग नो, व्हाट अबाउट द पीस, ह्यूमन रिस्पेक्ट और ह्यूमन राइट्स, तो अब वो सारी चीजें आ गई हैं. So that way, what Trump is doing is exposing the West, their
And
double
one
stand.
part of it also is some statistics that in the holdings, right, treasury holdings itself, since we are
Yes,
talking about the dollar here, European Union alone holds roughly 1.8 to $2 trillion worth of
yes.
treasuries, and it includes broader Europe, which have all the funds and investors. In fact, the NATO Europe, which perhaps doesn't involve the EU countries, it is totally $2.8 trillion, which means it is roughly, at least Europe holds at least 10% of US GDP in that they are lending to them. Like essentially, this is the
See, if
story here.
if everybody decides to encash the US Treasury, you'll find the impact on the US economy. So
The yields
it
will
is
go
a
up
very,
high to such an extent that
yes.
their debt will spiral out of control.
Yes, and the valuation of dollar will go down. The value of dollar will
Yes.
go down. So these things are happening in the background, and so there's a lot of turmoil. Greenland and Abhi Davos में the World Economic Forum, everybody is talking. They wanted the first meeting of Board of Peace, and not many members other than Islamic countries and few other countries. Argentina आ गया, so some South American countries came in, but overall Philippines, so overall the big countries have said no to it. India has not commented. France is not joining. The entire Europe is, boycotting it. So what is happening is the minnows and the US, they are standing together, and the rest of the world. And you'll be surprised to know that France and many European countries want to join BRICS. And BRICS ka currency this year, the host is India. BRICS ka you never know the currency and the transaction system may start this year. And one more news, जैसे ये सब बनाते हैं ना रेटिंग्स फॉर ह्यूमन राइट्स, रेटिंग्स फॉर ना the way you live, quality of life. India has issued a new rating agency from our country, which will neutrally and rationally create ratings for the world. So again, this is again a parallel to the Western world, where we used to be rated, worse than Afghanistan and Pakistan in terms of freedom of media and other things, right? So these
Yeah,
ratings
and
also
I
the
think this is the one. So I think we were talking about this particular thing. If we can see this,
yes,
uh, they're right there. I think. Let me add this. Okay, now. So this is the one that I think you were mentioning that
yes.
we have launched a, this
I think
particular
today or
thing.
yesterday. Yeah,
I think
it's
somewhere
being
today, I think they had launched this. I think it's incomplete here, but you know, see in Marathi it is showing, but in the English translation
yeah.
is this one here, this one. So this is the index that we're talking about today, released at JNU and IM. They were, I think, they have contributed to this about 3 years of academic and policy research. I think this is also something that was started by perhaps
So its
Sanjay
name is
Sanyal.
responsible. Yeah, its name is Responsible Nations Index (RNI), and we are ranked 16 among 154 countries. So it's not that India is ranked itself the highest. Okay, so major powers, US is 22nd, China. So this rating system which the West was using against us, that in the rating they only used to, Department of Home used to, or Department of State used to create an internal rating system and then tell the countries, भाई तुम्हारा freedom of expression, yes, freedom of speech का index बहुत कम है, your democracy is not right. They used to judge us. Now we are trying to create an open and fair rating system where countries like Russia and other countries will be supporting us, China, and we'll create a parallel, rating system. कि तुम हमारा rating क्या, तुम पहले अपना rating देखो ना. Your civil rights, your Black Lives Matter and all these civil wars happening, civil rights being used, misused there. वो सब पहले देखो. So point is that instead of pointing finger at us, you look where you stand in our rating. So I think the Asia and the Eastern Hemisphere is going to now challenge the dominance of the Western Hemisphere. Dominance क्या है? गुंडागर्दी था. So that is how
Huh.
the world is changing. The world is evolving.
World is evolving to large
Yeah,
extent.
and these are good times for us. The
Yes,
power is now
absolutely.
shifting from the Western Hemisphere to the Eastern Hemisphere. If you see
At
the
the very
RIC,
least, it is
BRICS
becoming a
countries.
multipolar world.
y- Yeah, I think multipolar world, and I think that group of that power is now shifting to Asia. If
Hmm.
I include Russia also into it, the Russia, China, India is where the power is there. आपका maximum
Hmm.
population है, maximum wealth है, and maximum control of world you know transactions and operations. Manufacturing ले लो,
Even
Taiwan ले लो,
growth, all the
semiconductor.
economic growth.
Yeah, economic growth. So that is how the world is changing, and this is a good time for us. Rather, people who have settled in West now should start shifting to India and countries like Russia, and so that this is where the next future is for decades. And we Indians should be
For
proud
sure.
of it.
Absolutely, sir. So on that note, I would like to
Yeah, I
thank
think
you
we will
for
wrap up this series.
for today.
This
But
episode.
definitely, I think we will do this again. And I particularly enjoyed talking about Greenland. It's something different from our regular discussions. But thank you,
I
sir.
think we should
And
thank Trump. He keeps giving us new topics every week.
content. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Take care. All the
Jai
best.
Hind, Jai Bharat.
Jai Bharat.